Good morning guys, and welcome to another video here from the incredible country of India. Today we are in the city of Jaisalmer, which is a city in the western corner of this country, and this is going to be a food tour. This city has actually a few things that we haven't seen anywhere in Rajasthan. It's got a sort of sweets and savories that you can't really find anywhere else in India. Some local traditional Jaisalmer Rajasthani things that we are looking to try. So without further ado, I'm really hungry. I'm excited to see what the food scene is here in the city. So let's go ahead, let's try and get some food. Let's start off our day and let's see where our food tour of Jaisalmer takes us for the rest of the day. Let's get going. Alright, first stop of the day today. As you can tell, I am struggling here. I am as tall as the ceiling here. But we've come to get one of the most classic breakfast items here in Jaisalmer. It's something that actually you won't find anywhere else in India. You won't even find it in other places in Rajasthan. You'll only find it in Jaisalmer, and that is something called Dal Pakwan. What is it? It's this massive cracker filled with dal, which is lentils, and then topped off with onions, tomatoes, and chilies. It's a very interesting way of doing dal, and in fact I think India in general has a very interesting way of dealing with lentils. But it is a classic dish here in Jaisalmer that you will only find in Jaisalmer. So if you come to Jaisalmer and you don't have Dal Pakwan, it's like you're kind of missing out on the main thing here. So without further ado, let's go ahead and try it out. You can see he skillfully just puts on the dal, he puts on some spices, he puts on the onions, the tomatoes, the chilies, and it's as simple as that. It's a very simple recipe, but it is supposed to be delicious, and it is supposed to be one of the best things you can try here in Jaisalmer. First off, I was shocked by how big it was. I thought it was like a tiny little thing. It is like a pie size. I mean, look at how massive that is. That is much bigger than I expected, and I just didn't know that it was going to be this big. So without further ado, I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to grab, ooh, wow, it is a very crispy bit. It's like a chip almost. What I'm going to do is I'm going to dip it with the dal, get some of the tomato, the onion. We're going to dip it with all the best ingredients, and then we're going to go ahead and try it out. Oh no. That has all my favorite flavors and textures. First off, the cracker itself is super crispy. It is as crispy as it gets. It's like fried to perfection, almost like a chip. Basically, it's a very airy chip on the inside. Then the freshness of the onion, the tomatoes, the peppers, that also adds a nice freshness, nice texture to it. The lentil, the dal itself, it has a little bit of like a savory taste to it, very deep savory taste to it. You've got a hint of spice from the chilies. You've also got a hint of spice from the red sort of spices that you see on top. But together, that makes it really good because the cracker itself is plain. The cracker itself has no flavor. It's just a base for all the flavors on top. To be very honest with you, it kind of reminds me of Mexican chips and salsa. I know I shouldn't be making that comparison, but it does have that texture. It's a freshness of the sort of tomatoes and the dal, and then you've got the crispiness of the actual chip on the bottom, supporting all those delicious flavors on top of it. Really delicious right here on the streets of Jaisalmer. And like I said, you can't visit Jaisalmer without having Dal Pakwan. It's one of the most classic dishes that you have to have here. So one of the best things you could try when you're here in this city. Alright, next stop of the day, we've come to an incredibly busy place. I mean, look at all the people here lining up for food. This is a place that's been open since 1977. So when it comes to good food and heritage food, this place knows what's going on. This place is very famous. They have a lot of things on offer here. The place here is called Radhe Radhe Namkeen, and they serve quite a few things. They serve dokla, which is another sort of thing. They serve some samosas. They serve quite a few variety of foods here. But we've got something here, Mirchi Bada. This is like a big fried breaded chili, and it's supposed to be a classic here in India, a classic here in Rajasthan, and something that they are very famous here at this stall. You can see it's not just the chili fried in bread. That's not all it is. There's a bit of sauce, there's a bit of green chutney on it, and you can see the whole bread layer covers the entire chili. I've never seen this much fried chili before in my life. They cut it up into these tiny little pieces, and then it makes up a whole plate. It's actually quite substantial. You look at it, you don't think it's very substantial, but once they've cut it up, it's actually much more than you could expect. So without further ado, we're gonna have our first Mirchi Bada. It looks very interesting. We're just gonna go ahead and take a piece here. I mean, wow, look at all that chutney right on top of it. Wow, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna try this out.
Spicy, can be hot.
I actually feel like, although this is supposed to be a chili, it's sweet. It's actually very, very sweet. And I was actually being told that there are two types of chilies here in India. There's really big chilies, and then there's tiny little skinny chilies. The skinny small chilies tend to be a lot spicier, whereas the big ones tend to be a little sweeter and not as spicy. What I like is that because this is a really big chili, it's actually got a bit of sweetness to it. It's got a bit of flavor to it. It's not just pure spice and heat, which actually adds to the flavor. Now the breading itself doesn't have much, it just adds a little bit of like crunchiness to it. It's fried, a little bit of oiliness. It's probably not the healthiest thing. However, I love the natural taste of the chili. And then comes the chutney. The green chutney is a really, really nice combination. It's a really nice flavor. Got a bit of like a acidity to it as well, but also it adds a little bit of sweetness to the overall Mirchi Bada. Overall, great thing. You can even see the mustard seeds that are sort of packed in there. There's just so many spices, so many flavors in this fried green chili. It is a really nice chili. Surprisingly, not too spicy at all. So if your stomach can't handle spice here in India, this is actually a pretty good substitute. It's sweet, it's not too spicy, and it's a really nice little snack to have here in Jaisalmer. Alright, the next shop that we're at is actually, well, we're not at the shop anymore, but it's a place called Kadhi Dukan. I think that's how you say it. It is a sweet shop in the actual center of the city, but there's no real seating area, so we've come up to the fort just to have it. But what they do really well are these ladoos. And ladoo is basically like a sweet condensed into this like ball shaped. There are many different types of ladoos all across India. Like here in Jaisalmer, they also do the unique types of ladoos, which is why we are trying them here from this store. It's supposed to be a very famous stall, and I think you can probably tell that there were quite some people there. So without further ado, let's go ahead and try this ladoo out. You can see, first off, there's quite a few things. There's nuts on it, there's saffron on it, and it's ball shaped, right? It's yellow in color. I don't know what the taste is. I've never had a ladoo here in India before. You can even see there's a few like seeds here as well. So there's quite a few things going on in this ladoo, which makes me very curious to actually go ahead and try it out. So without further ado, let's take our first bite of our first ladoo here in India. Wow, that has so much going on in it. First off, texture-wise, it's a bit crumbly, but also a bit sticky and a bit caramelized. You can literally see the texture inside. It's got a bit of like a crumbliness texture to it, which is really, really nice. It almost dissolves in your mouth though, once it hits your saliva, because it's just a bunch of crumbliness that just disappears and disintegrates once it enters your mouth. In terms of taste, you've got a lot of incredible different flavors going on. You've got the nuttiness from the almonds, which you can actually see on the outside of the ladoo itself. You've got spices like little seeds, fennel, that are inside here that add a great flavor to it. And then you taste even a little bit of saffron, just a hint of saffron. You can literally see the strand of saffron earlier. I think you could see it on the actual ladoo itself. There's so many different flavors to it. It is quite sweet. It's a little bit milky as well. So it's got a really nice different contrasting flavors inside the ladoo. But I do really like it. It's a great little sweet snack, and it's a great sort of little dessert to have in the city. The crumbliness, the texture of it all is really nice. And usually you buy it in a box. So you would usually buy maybe 10 or 20 of them in a box to take away. Obviously, I'm just having one for now, but you could definitely buy a whole lot more. And these go down so easily. Like, they just literally dissolve. They melt in your mouth once you bite in. So very easy to just have a bunch of these and pop these in after dinner every night. I think we've just entered food heaven right here. Alright, the sun has already set here in Jaisalmer, and it is now time for us to get something to end off our day. And we've come to a really nice place called Chandran Shri Fast Food and Sweets. It is a massive building, and they've got some street food stations at the front, but you can also come in here and sit in the AC when it's so hot in Jaisalmer. We've ordered a few things, but first off, we've got to get some chole tikki. Chole tikki is a really interesting thing because what they do is they start off with some onions, some peppers, and then they put the aloo tikki, which is basically a potato patty. They slice it up, they put it in, and then they stir fry it in the heat. After that, they put in just a bit of yogurt right on top, and that is what we call a chole tikki here in Jaisalmer. It's very interesting. It's got a lot of different ingredients. It's got chole, which is your chickpeas. It's got onions, and like I said, it's also got some chilies and some dahi, which is yogurt here in India. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and try the chole tikki. They're literally, the guy who's making it downstairs is so masterful. He's so skillful. He has mastered the flame. He knows how to cook it well. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and let's try this out. I mean, you can literally see all the ingredients in here. You can see the peppers, you can see the chole. Let's go ahead and try it out. That is absolutely delicious because of all the different flavors that are inside. First, we got crispiness from the potato patty, the aloo tikki. That is sliced up into small little bits. So you get bits of that crispiness as you're biting through. You've got the softness of the chickpeas that are sort of really soft up. You can see when he's putting it in, the chickpeas are already soft. You're just reheating them up under the fire. You've got flavors of onions, you've got peppers, and of course you've got some chili, which adds just a little bit of spice, the perfect amount of spice just to tingle your taste buds. It is really nice. And then, of course, you put some yogurt to balance it all out. It is the perfect little appetizer combination. Now you can probably tell there are quite a few people here. This is a very popular place here in Jaisalmer. And the main dishes have finally arrived. And trust me, we have a feast. We've ordered a few things. First off, we've got kher sangri. It's a unique type of plant that I've only found here in Rajasthan. And what they've done here is that they've actually put it in a really nice sauce, a nice gravy that is supposed to be really nice. I'll show you that in a second. Then we've got something called a Kadhi fry, which is another Rajasthani type of specialty. You can see it's almost really creamy. It's got tomato base. It also looks really nice. And with that, we've got some breads. We've got misi roti, which is a little different type of roti. And then we've got lata paratha, which is a sort of very nice, flaky sort of bread. First off, we're going to go ahead and try the kher sangri. Kher sangri, like I mentioned, is a very unique vegetable. I've actually never seen kher sangri outside of India as a vegetable commonly sold and served in restaurants. It's very unique. What they've done here is that usually you get kher sangri with just the strands of the vegetable themselves. However, here in this restaurant, they actually serve it with a bit of a gravy, a bit of a sauce. I don't even know what the actual vegetable name is in English, but it is a very nice sort of Rajasthani dish that you usually get here. So with that, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to take a big scoop of this kher sangri. It looks really interesting, and I like how there's a bit of gravy that's coating each piece of it, so that should add to the flavor. With that, I'm going to go ahead. I got quite a nice scoop here of the kher sangri. You can see there are a few chilies here, there's a bit of gravy here. We're going to try it all out. I have to say, I've had kher sangri before. It hasn't been my most favorite thing to eat. And this is much better than the other kher sangris I've had, but it's still not my most favorite thing. It's got a very weird texture where it's not exactly crispy, it's not crunchy, it's not fibrous. It kind of is like mushy pasta in a way with a bit of a mushroomy flavor. That's the best way I can describe it. I'm not the biggest fan of it, but I know there are people who love kher sangri and that is their thing here in Rajasthan. So if you're looking to try something new, that is definitely something that you should go for. The next thing we've got is a curry fry, and you literally tell it is super orange colored. It's got a bit of cream, I think, a bit of tomato. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pour myself a nice little bowl of it right here. It is very interestingly shaped in this big, almost like cup, like a big bowl that's sort of emerged up. It's orange in color. I think that's a mix of the tomato base with a bit of the cream perhaps. So with that, let's go ahead and try out some curry fry. is delicious. I really like that. So many different things going on. First off, I don't know what vegetable they put inside, but that vegetable has a bit of like an earthy bitterness to it. That contrasts really well with the actual sauce, the actual gravy of the Kadhi fry, which is more of a creamy, spicier combination, a bit of tomatoey flavor in it, but it is quite creamy. It's very nice on the tongue. It tastes really nice. It is really hot. It is piping hot. And I think they actually keep it in this big metal bowl to keep it warm as you're eating it. Otherwise, it would maybe get cold. But I really do like the sauce. It's a very thick sauce as well. It's not a very watery sauce. You can see as it coats the surface of my spoon how thick of a sauce it actually is. But very interesting combination. Earthiness of some of the sort of vegetables inside. A little bit of bitterness, but at the same time, a lot of umami flavor coming in from the actual gravy itself, the tomato, the creaminess. It's almost like a bit of a spicy, creamy tomato soup, but that's not exactly what it is, so you're gonna have to come here and try it out yourself. The next thing I want to dip in here is a mirchi roti. This is based on a different type of wheat. It's not our usual wheat that we have. And you can see there are some sort of vegetables in it. I think they've got some cilantro inside that's sort of baked in to the actual mirchi roti. What I'm going to do is, because I'm such a huge fan of the Kadhi fry, I'm going to go ahead, dip it inside the Kadhi fry. We're going to pick up some of the vegetables, which add a huge ton of flavor to the actual gravy. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to try this combination. The actual roti itself has a nice sort of texture to it where it's kind of cakey, kind of bready in a way. So you need a little bit of effort to bite through it. However, once you dip it into that creamy tomato-based sort of curry sauce of the Kadhi fry, you get an incredibly rich flavor that gets soaked into the actual mirchi roti. It's not too dry, and once you dump it in, it actually tastes really good. I really like mirchi roti. It's actually really healthy for you. So if you're looking for a healthy type of bread that's good for your gut, that's good for your health, then this is a really good thing. But overall, this has been a great meal. Everything here has been traditionally Rajasthani, and this place does some of the best Rajasthani food you're gonna get here in Jaisalmer. Alright, now this place is not just a restaurant, it's also known as a sweets house. So obviously, I couldn't leave this place without trying some of their sweets. We asked the waiter what's the most famous thing they have here, and it's kheer chum chum. Apparently, any child who grew up in Jaisalmer, if they want kheer, this is the place they come to. Now, what is kheer chum chum? It's a milk-based sort of sweet dessert that has this sort of big lump in it, which is referred to as chum chum. I don't know what it is, but I know it's milk-based, it's supposed to be sweet, and it's a nice dessert to end off our night. So, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to go ahead and tear off a piece, and I'm going to go ahead and try my first kheer chum chum here in Jaisalmer. Not sure what to expect, but let's go ahead and let's try it out. I'm not gonna lie, that kind of tastes like rasmalai. It's got a saffron-based flavor, it's got milkiness. The actual chum-chum part, soft, chewy, kind of like the sort of curd in the rasmalai that you get. That's really nice and sort of soaked up, all that sort of nice milky flavor. It is very sweet, but I really like that there's a hint of spice, there's a hint of that sort of saffron within the milk that adds to the flavor. Overall, a really nice dessert, but I wouldn't really differentiate it from rasmalai. It's pretty similar to that in a lot of respects. So for me, really nice dessert. It's one of the most highly recommended things here, but to me, there's nothing very different from a traditional rasmalai that you could get anywhere in India. What an incredible dinner this was, this place right here. Chandran Shri. Sweets and fast food. They make some of the best food you're going to find here in Jaisalmer, and the chefs here are just so talented. It is such incredibly delicious food and traditional Rajasthani that you're just not going to find in other parts of India. But what an incredible day we have had in terms of food. We've had so many classic Jaisalmer things. We've had Dal Pakwan, for example, in the morning. We had the delicious Mirchi Bada, which is that sort of fried chili. We had the sort of dishes, the Kadhi fry, which was absolutely incredible. And obviously the kheer chum chum, one of the classic sweets here at this store right behind me. It's been an incredible food day here, and honestly, Jaisalmer's food is out of this world good. So if you're here in Jaisalmer, don't just visit the fort. The city itself, the food is just absolutely incredible, and the local sort of vendors here are serving up some of the best food you're gonna find anywhere in India. But with that, I'm gonna go ahead and end this video here. What an incredible food day it's been. If you enjoyed this video, definitely give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more food and travel videos. Got a lot more videos coming here from India, so make sure to stay tuned, and I'll see you all on the next one. Bye guys.